All systems green. Good luck. Thank you.
Greetings, Aimless Adventure crew. My name's Murph, and welcome to Murph's Vault, and also part 2 of my special on Takatoku's 155 scale Valkyrie toy. In the last part, I talked about Takatoku and how they made the 155 scale Valkyrie for the Macross TV series that came out in 1982 in Japan. Once again, that series was a phenomenal hit in Japan. As I stated before, it is one of the pillars that really brought upon the transforming robot craze of the 1980s. There was other contributors to that as well. It's not solely on Macross's shoulders, but they were one of the key series that did that. Takatoku was a company that was a licensee that was licensed to make toys. Takatoku specialized in die-cast and plastic toys, specifically from sci-fi series. When they got the license in 1982, they were in some kind of financial trouble, but they created, one of the toys they created was the 155 scale transformable Valkyrie, which ended up being a huge hit. However, even though the toys sold extremely well, they were good toys, solid toys, meant to be played with, but had excellent transformation, excellent detail, tied to an excellent and very popular series. That was not enough to save Takatoku from financial difficulties. That resulted in Bandai buying them out. Bandai, like Takara, they're a huge giant, if you don't know, over in Japan, a huge toy company over there. So then Bandai had the rights to all of Takatoku's toys. Then, in 1984, a movie was released over in Japan. It hit the theaters. It was called Macross 1984, Do You Remember Love? And what this was, it was a theatrical movie. It was not a sequel to the original series. It was not part of the storyline, but it was a standalone movie that was basically a retelling of the series all the way through episode 27. But they did it in like 2 hours or under 2 hours. The animation was beautiful. It was choreographed right. It was voiced great. It looked wonderful. Story-wise, it's a matter of opinion. Everyone has their own. We all know what opinions are compared to, but the story was cool, but it just felt like there was too much to tell in too little time, at least in my opinion. But it's still a movie that I can watch and enjoy. Well, when that movie came out, Bandai released, once again, the 155 scale Valkyrie. And they had some Valkyries that were very specific to this movie. I'm going to show them to you. I have some that are loose here. The boxes are packed away, but I like to keep them safe. But let me show you what some of the toys are. One of the first toys that they had was the VF-1A that was piloted by Hikaru. Now, this is actually a re-release that Bandai released in the early 2000s, but still the same, pretty much the same toy. It's the 155 scale Valkyrie. It's a VF-1A, but it's white with Hikaru's red and black striping that he had in the movie. Unlike the VF-1J that he had originally in the Macross TV show, this is what Hikaru started out with in the movie. So that's it. Pretty bland. Another toy that they also released that was in a gift box set. They had 3 Valkyries that were in a gift box set, which were wider. They came with armor and other accessories. One of the first ones was the VF-1S Strike Valkyrie. Now, what happens if you're a fan, spoiler alert, if you're a fan of Robotech and Macross, you know that the character Roy Folker, who piloted Skull 1, I'll tell you right now, turn this off if you don't like spoilers, even though it's been like over 30 years since the story came out. Too soon, huh? Anyway, Roy Folker dies in the TV series. He also dies in the movie. He piloted a VF-1S, but he had yellow and black stripes instead of red and black. And just like in the TV show, Hikaru took over Roy Folker's place. Roy Folker was his mentor. The mentor has to step aside so the hero can then emerge in his own light. And this is the Strike Valkyrie that Hikaru piloted in the movie. Once again, it has the red and black striping. However, it has the VF-1S head. It has the Strike Valkyrie cannon that was only in the movie, not in the TV series. In addition to having the Super Veritech armor that's on there, and it also came with wing missiles that clip on as well. Pretty cool, huh? So that was the Strike Valkyrie. Now, while the other one is the Valkyrie that I previously showed you, the Hikaru VF-1A, that one's been reissued. This one, for some reason, has never been reissued. I don't know why. They have the molds to this. They have the molds to the armor. They just never reissued it. I don't know why Bandai has it, but it is a very cool piece. Another one that they issued, the last two were kind of strange, but this one is the strangest of all, I think. And it is the VE1 Elent Seeker. Yeah, you never saw this in Battloid mode in the movie, and it was only in the Macross movie. This figure was from a 3-second shot when it was in fighter form, and you saw it from the back. It was basically a reconnaissance Valkyrie. It had this little cat's eye radar dish up top, but it also had the booster armor, the super armor, and all that. Yeah, it's kind of a strange one. It's also highly sought after, too. The reason is it didn't sell very well, so not a lot of them were out there, and it's turned out to be a pretty big collector's item. It's odd, but it's odd in a cool sort of way. So this is probably one of my favorite ones I have in my collection, basically because it's so rare and it's also an odd Valkyrie to have. Now, there was the third gift set, and that's the one Valkyrie I do not own. That is the VT1 Ostrich, which is very similar to the orange Valkyrie you saw in the original Robotech TV or Macross TV series in episodes 1 through 3. It was a trainer. It had booster packs on it. It was prominently shown in Macross 84, the movie. But you saw it in Fighter and Guardian mode, not in Battloid mode. Anyway, that was the other third gift set that they made for the movie, and that's the only one I don't own. So if there's anyone out there that's looking to sell theirs, let me know. So, but it is very hard to find nowadays. Once again, just like the Elent Seeker and the Strike Valkyrie, for some reason, Bandai has never reissued it. Don't know why. They just never have. But talking about reissues, Bandai has continued to reissue these Valkyries over the years. One of the latest offerings was called the Origin of Valkyrie series, where they reissued a number of the 155 scale Valkyries. It was rumored at the time that they were going to reissue the Elent Seeker and Ostrich and Strike Valkyrie. They didn't. They reissued the VF-1J, the VF-1S, the VF-1A Hikaru, but they also had two that they had never issued before, which was kind of cool for collectors. One of them is kind of, okay, so-so, and it's the VF-1A Hikaru with the fast pack armor on it. And this one is the same mold as the VF-1A Hikaru, but instead of being so white, the base tone is more of a gray. And it came with the strike armor, but the strike armor has a greenish tinge to it instead of a dark gray or a light gray. I don't know, they've never released this figure with the booster packs on it, so it's kind of cool. So, and then the last one that they had never released before that was kind of neat was the Maximilian Genius VF-1A from Macross the movie 1984. Once again, the same green fastback super Valkyrie armor, but this is Maximilian Genius's VF-1A, which had the blue and black stripes. He was also a character in that movie. Now, in the TV show, Max and Miria fall in love. Miria is micronized. She joins the Earth forces. What's kind of neat is the tables are turned in the movie. They still meet and fall in love, but Max joins the Zentradi forces, or I should say the Maltrani forces, what the females were called of their race. And he, instead of being micronized, becomes a giant. And they end up fighting together at the last battle, which I'll hopefully show you at the end of this video. But anyway, this is a version they had never issued before until recently. So once again, kind of cool. So those were the toys, the 155 scale Valkyries that they issued for Macross 84, the movie Do You Remember Love? Now, Takatoku and Bandai have made a slew of die-cast and plastic Macross toys. A couple of them, I have a couple others here that I'd like to show you right now. It's not really enough for me to make a whole episode of, but they also made toys of the SDF-1 cruiser itself. This is a little bonus part at the end. This is the 1/6300 scale version of the Macross cruiser in what's called the Storm Attacker construction. It was either in a cruiser mode that flew, or it was in robot form. And this is the Takatoku version. Has these little, little guns. Both the bows come down. These little triggers here that shoots off the missiles there. Arms raise. It does not transform. It's just pretty much a static toy, but it's kind of cool. It is small though. Now the actual ship was very large, so this thing's probably about, I don't know, 7 to 8 inches tall. Pretty heavy. It's mainly die-cast metal, has some plastic. And then the other toy was Takatoku made a transforming version of the same Macross ship. It was 1/3000 scale, and that was also released that transforms. Now, Matchbox got the license for the Robotech toys here in the U.S. for other reasons, which I can talk in another video about Jetfire. They weren't allowed to issue the 155 scale Valkyries here in the U.S., but they can issue all the rest of Takatoku's toys. So they reissued the 1/3000 scale Macross cruiser, which I have the Matchbox version. Now this version is pretty much identical to the Takatoku version, except they've taken off all of the launching missile things. The Takatoku version had little Valkyrie planes that launched off the carrier. There was little hatches here that were missile launchers. Well, those have been taken out. It's kind of funny because they still have the Bandai and Macross logo on the bottom of the feet here, but even though this is the Matchbox version. This ship actually transformed into the cruiser mode. And I can show you that real quick. It's actually not very hard at all. What you do is push the legs in, like so. Let's straighten out the arms here. Turn those around, like so. Now then, we're going to have to flick that up, like that. And let's rotate the body, like so. And then we'll turn the bow guns in, and turn the bow tips out. And then we'll bring these rail guns in. And so on, and there is the Macross cruiser. It also has some little wheels on the bottom if you want to stand it up, or lay it down, I should say, on a flat surface so it can sit flat, like so. And there's the cruiser. So anyway, neat little transformable toy that they made. This one is actually one I got very lucky on. I had obtained it on eBay because the one bow gun was actually broken. So I got it extremely cheap because these big ones here, the 1/3000 scale, even the Matchbox version, tends to go for a lot of money. So I ended up picking up real cheap, and the person had all the parts. I was able to fix the transforming mechanism. I cleaned it up. The original owner had done a really good job with sticker placement, and pretty much I had a rescue toy here, one that I didn't think I would ever own. So I was very happy about that. So anyway, that is the end of my two-part special on the Takatoku 155 scale Valkyries. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. If you have never had a chance to see the Macross series, I recommend seeing it. If you have seen the Macross portion of Robotech, you might want to check out the Macross series. There are some slight differences, but not that many. The difference in animation is slight. There's some scenes that were cut out of the American version, but it's only a couple. The storyline is a lot different. They had to do it for Robotech, and that's a discussion for another time. But if you haven't seen it, check out Macross 84, the movie, Do You Remember Love? Just for the animation itself and to compare the storyline. I think it's a much more mature story, and I think you'll like the animation. Anyway, that's it. Once again, I thank you for joining me here in Murph's Vault, and I now return you to your aimless adventure. Later.
Attention, red alert. Attention, red alert. Take positions for maximum impact. Take positions for maximum impact. Attention. Our ship is to make a transformation in 3 minutes. Go to the nearest shelter as soon as possible. Attention. Our ship is to make a transformation in 3 minutes. Go to the nearest shelter.
デルタワイン光るエンゼルアポロ招待各機へコース修正 COA プラス A1 ファイル30秒後に射程圏内に入り迎撃体系に移れ
スカルリーダーより各機へ聞いての通りだ。これより迎撃フォーメーション17に移る。いいな。喜ぶのはまだ早いぞ。交代速度を合わせ迎撃態勢に移る。前期3回して逆加速に移れ。
了解。3機か。よし。やるな。だぞマックス。了解。3機撃墜。やる？ほんと天才だぜ。俺だって。やった！
デルタワインより各機へエリア108大型戦艦出現艦隊機多数本艦に向けて接近中至急迎撃に向かえ
こっちの敵はおとりか。